Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty, and welcome to another episode of Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. And this is probably going to be very much so, Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. We're just going to talk about random thoughts, random things. You know, it's kind of as you guys know, Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. It's more for me to just talk about random things anyway, just to clear my mind and use it to find various other subject talking points. One of the things that's been going through my mind that's of late is, you know, investing into finding other alternative platforms, where we can stream, upload videos, and as well as reaching out to different audiences. Because in the end, that's what it's about, guys. You know, the more platforms we're on, the more platforms we share to, that's a different audience. You know, we get it's a newer audience that we're reaching to, and that's always been important. I mean, learning, because all these things are tools. There are tools at our disposal. You know, we got problems on every platform, no matter where we go. Trying to find that perfect one. Right now, there isn't that perfect one. There's no other platform we can do what we do here on YouTube. It's like there's no other platform that we can do what we can do on Facebook or Twitter. There's many out there that are working to become that. Gab, but they're still in that process of growing, developing. We still can't live stream there unless we're premium user. Can't really live stream on BitChute. You can upload videos, so there's another video option, but BitChute's kind of slow on the uploads. Everywhere we go, we're going to run into things. The mines, I've actually been enjoying the mines, the freedom not to have to worry about censorship. But with the mines, it's, lacking being able to upload any of my videos. For those that do 15 minutes or less, you're perfect. You can upload to your heart's content. Me, not so much. Couldn't even think about doing a 15-minute video unless it's an intro video, which I am not going to be running for a while because it just sounds like crap coming through the computer. So, no more intros for a while. Plus, I've been playing around with DLive, Steemit, and DTube. Actually, just before about an hour ago, I did my first live stream on DLive. Unfortunately, OBS is garbage, at least for me. I don't have that greatest of internet connections, which I think is funny. I can do Hangouts just fine, screen share and all that. I can do XSplit just fine, or run Gamecaster off BattleNet just fine. OBS has always been a problem child for me, no matter how fine-tuned I get the settings. But as I expected, it is an option because it might not be great for the live stream part, but after the video renders and processes, it's other than a few drop frames that happened, it played perfect, which was kind of cool. Just it's not there yet. I've showed you guys Worldy. Worldy is an awesome spot, but it's still under development. It's still being made. The importance of being on there right now is for us to give feedback to Christina Taft. Things that we want to see, things that we want. If you got a a creator and a founder that's asking you for your input. What do you want? There's a place where you want to be. There's a place where you want to give your feedback. Because then we can get all those things that we love and like all in one place. You don't see any other social platform doing those things. You know, for me, Steam It, DTube, and DLive, it's most people are there because it's cryptocurrency and blockchain, which I could care less about. I'm not into it, don't care for it, but it's a platform to where if and when I ever get knocked off here, I have a backup, an alternative place to be, a place where I can still do live streams. You know, just like I have a Patreon. You know, it's not in my link of descriptions down there, but I do have one. In fact, I'm going to show it to you. You know, just I'm going to show you some of the places I'm at, places I use as tools. WordPress, Sons and Daughters of Liberties here. Every video I've uploaded, even the magazine, even some stuff that's not here, like some of my poetry and writing stuff's on here. The drawback is pay to play. So I can't upload videos straight from my computer to here. So I have to use, as you can see, YouTube's links to upload my videos. So once more, if something ever happens, I would lose all the videos I have on here unless I have it backed up to another site where I can just copy the URL and re-upload it. But it's still a nice tool. It works for the time being. And it allows me to reach the audiences, a nice size audience, just on the WordPress platform that don't normally come to the YouTubes or Facebooks or Twitters. And like I said, of course, I have BitChute, which I really haven't done much with, but it is an alternative spot to where I can upload my videos and be able to get a link. Maybe I get a magnet link. Uh, I think see that. There's the drawback to that. Not able to get a link. So that leaves this as just a place to put videos and store them, or reach a new audience. So once more, not a viable option. Patreon has its advantages, but also we run into the same issue with Patreon is having to have an embed link to upload your videos. But one of the nice things is, while I'm on YouTube, I can easily set up, put my live stream right here, and it works. But here's something that Patreon offers that can't do elsewhere. We're able to upload a straight MP3 file, an audio file. So, and I have an audio file for every video I've done, which is great because that allows me to still have a place with my content. I think a lot of people get misinterpret misinterpret the fact that you have to be a Patreon. No, as you can clearly see in every video, everything's free. There's no tiers, no rewards. It's just click follow and you get the notifications. It's just like any other site. And I will never access the Patreon part to where I create tiers for people. It's always will always be free for people. But it's another tool at my disposal. Much like the Minds is, Worldy, Gab, Twitter, Steemit. They're all our tools. It allows us to reach many other people. Same with the community social platforms I'm on Ning. Each has their unique advantages, and they have their disadvantages. They all have a form of censorship from time to time. You get too crazy with things. But it's more than one option. Hi, Cesar. Clear down to the Facebook. I mean, in the end, it's all about reaching new viewers, about still being able to get your message out, having a backup. And to me, that's really what it's about. I mean, I played around with the D Live today. Like I said, it has similarities to YouTube, but I'm in that one category where OBS just doesn't work great for my type of connection. And right now, the only thing you can use is OBS, and it can be finicky. It took me like 3 days to be able to copy the link to be able to live stream to D Live because it would just give you a little circle with the line through it saying you can't click on it. You had to literally get to the very corner where the show was, little I button to show the code, and you had to be at just the right spot to copy it. YouTube haven't been able to upload because I've been having issues with the snap, uploading the snap, which is nothing more than a thumbnail. So as we can see, we run into all these drawbacks. No matter where we go, we're never going to find the perfect thing. That's why it's important to, when people like Christina Taft come around, that's building a platform and have developers that are open to listening to people to get the things we want. It's important to check them out and, join with the understanding that it's going to take time for these changes to happen. Just in the month that I've been on there, I've seen a lot of a lot of things get fixed where it's more streamlined. They're working around the clock to get us something that we're going to enjoy, something that will, be better than what we've got everywhere else. So, you know, it's important to support those people. You guys always know that I'm all about the mom and pop people and the small business or young entrepreneurs that are about the right thing, that are about giving back to our communities. Those are the type of people we want to support. Just like on YouTube. All the people I subscribe to. Oh, that's okay. All the people I subscribe to. I subscribe to various different people. You know, and I see people. Oh, this person's this person's that. I don't. It's not why I subscribe to them. I subscribe to them because it's a different perspective. They have different opinions, different views. Why am I going to stagnate myself with somebody that has the same views, perspectives, and opinions that I have? I'm not learning anything that way. I'm not questioning the things I know or the things I think I know. You know, it is important to have all these people, all these different groups, niches, and stuff. We're all a family as a whole here on this community. We just allow ourselves to be pitted and divided against each other instead of having great quality conversations in the chat rooms. Listening, learning. I watch a lot of people's channels. A lot of times I don't comment. I don't interact in the chat rooms. I just observe, watch, listen. You see things, you learn things. You know, Sometimes it's good to sit back and just observe. Not judging, not nothing, just observing, watching, listening. You learn things that way. You know, as I've always stated. Hey, Rebecca. As I've always stated, I go off feel. When I go live, it's because I've felt drawn to go live on a certain subject. Much like yesterday, I felt like being that guy that's going to talk differently about the unmasking Antifa act and pointing out the things that nobody's even questioning or thinking about it. Everybody's just saying, "Oh, unmasking Antifa act. They're going to make a law or pass a bill on it. Great, we're all for it." Don't even take the time to read it. Don't take in time to try to interpret it. Read in between the lines and point things out that potentially could come from it. Because when you actually read it, nowhere in the act, or it's an amendment, by the way, it's not a bill, nowhere in the amendment does it even mention Antifa. Funny that, right? It just talks about masking disguises and disguises. Oh, as I stated several times in the past month, not all things that glitter is gold. We get caught up in all the stuff that's trending. Like today, everybody's talking about the committee hearing. And if anybody would have watched it, all you had to do is watch 10 minutes of it, and you would have turned it right off because it was just nothing but a three-ring circus. Nothing but a dog and pony show that was distracting you from other things that were important. Meaning, like, what the hell blew up at the Egypt airport? Caused that huge fireball? I don't know. but I know it was buried so far down my feed because of all the stuff everybody talking about and retweeting the same thing over and over again about the committee hearing today. We get so caught up in the things that are shiny, and you miss out on so much. You miss out on small channels like Rebecca's, who's done some awesome content. You know, I'm glad she subscribed to me. I would have never found another awesome channel talking about things that a lot of people don't talk about. At the same time, showing people how fun art is and being able to use the art to talk about things. That's an awesome job. Talking about frequencies, vibrations, talking about real life stuff, stuff that can impact each of our lives profoundly in a positive way instead of negatively. You know, I try to share some of these people's content as much as I can on various platforms because it is important. Because they have a message that's unique, that's different than everybody else. Now, does that mean I agree all the time with what people say? No. And that's a good thing. I shouldn't agree with it, whatever, with what everybody's saying. I should have my own opinions and views. At the same time, I should be open-minded enough to be able to question my own opinions and views. And for those that are wondering why this is being more random thoughts and rambling, because I'm trying to think of what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow night on Pirate Radio Podcast. Now it's actually going to be one of the second time that I've actually been on somebody else's stream. I don't normally jump on people's streams. Even I am, like I said, learning from my own experiences. You know, being less antisocial, more social with other people. You know, for the most part, everything I've done has been organic. I, I see. I stopped sharing to my main, like anything I do on Sons and Daughters of Liberty doesn't get shared to my main Facebook feed. Because if I do, I end up being suspended for 7 days, 30 days. But I do share the stuff to my Facebook page for Sons and Daughters of Liberty and Free Spirit Press News, this Facebook page that we created separately for just these platforms. And that's, like I said, that's just tools at our disposal. I will, I'm definitely will be doing, I'm always making live videos at some point. So, Nikolai, tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be on, like I said, I'll be on Pirate Radio Podcast. It, yeah, it can get crazy. You know, that's kind of why I've enjoyed the organic approach to things. Because, you know, believe it or not, this shocked people. Probably not, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But I've, up until January, I had under 20 subscribers to this channel. Guess your real name? I'd say it's Nikolai. Now I'm up to 56. But I enjoy it because I still get this interaction with the chat. My chat's not scrolling a mile a minute. I don't have to put it on slow-mo. I can instantly react and interact with you guys. To me, that's a blessing. That's something a lot of these big channels are missing out on. Just like I'm disappointed that for Google Hangouts, they took away the Uber conference. Oh, if it's big, I'm not going to be able to guess it because Uber conference was another one of those things that allows me to put a number in so people can actually call in. But they decided to remove it from the Google Hangouts, which kind of sucks. That's one thing I actually wish Hangouts would bring back as an app for the Hangouts because it allowed a lot more interaction. It allowed different people to come on and share their opinions and views, or like my friend Rob that lives in North Carolina. He don't have good internet. He's got to rely on a Wi-Fi. And every time we try to get him on Hangouts, yeah, that's a big name. So, and he's been wanting to come on. There's actually a couple things I want him to talk about that he wants to share, especially when it comes to like vaccines and stuff. You know, it's not every day you can get somebody to come on that's experienced with and saw what vaccines can do. That's your first name? And there's some other subjects that he wants to talk about, which means I'm not going to be able to do that on a live stream. I'm going to have to record that, but I am going to do that before this year's over. Me and him's going to sit down and do a recorded show, and talk about some issues like vaccines, education, and there's a couple other topics that I know he wants to talk about. You know, the other thing that's been going through my mind a lot of late, is all the judging that's going on. You know, how we're being pitted against each other when it shouldn't even be like that. How people are getting caught up in these labels and allowing these labels to divide them and pit them against each other. And I'm constantly seeing people just attacking people because of stuff they talk about. It's like, we've bought into that judging system. We have to judge everybody, you know, and most people can't have that mindset. Who cares? I don't care what anybody thinks to me about me. Yes, it is sad, Rebecca. That's actually a cool name, Nikolai. You know, it is interesting that people just don't get it. They don't get that they want us so divided and at each other's throats. You know, I have that mentality that I don't care what people think. You haven't walked a day in my shoes. You haven't experienced the things I've experienced. Just like I haven't walked a day in your shoes or experienced the things you've experienced. The difference is I'm willing to listen and not judge. I'm willing to take the time to get to know you for who you are, not what others say you are. You know, I see people get so divided when it comes to religion. You know, we live in a country where that should never even be an issue. You know, we should be respecting everybody's beliefs and practices because they have the right to believe and practice what they want under the Constitution. That should be never to be used to divide us. But then again, neither should race. Why? Because we should be looking at each other as brothers and sisters. We're all Well, here in the U.S., we're all Americans. We're all Americans, American citizens. You know, just like Nikolai, he's a brother, even though he lives in Russia because he's a fellow human being. We're all brothers and sisters. Doesn't mean just because he's clear across the world from where I live. Big bad news is usually not good. But yeah, I'm up to hearing it. You know, I've had people in this very community judge me because of my spiritual beliefs and practices, but yet that very same knowledge that I have, they need to be aware of. I mean, they don't realize, I mean, so many people don't realize what everybody's using. You're using stuff that is more occultic than you even realize. Clear down to the AI programs. All an AI is a temple. A temple is meant to house a vessel, except for an AI does not have a vessel. It does not have the soul, so it's an empty vessel. In a sense, one could say it is a golem. But the other thing people don't even realize about the AI is the AI is self-learning, self-aware. Therefore, it's learning from each of us. So what are we teaching it? Oh, I fully agree, Rebecca. I've said that a few times on here. You know, what is the AI learning from us? Well, it's learning how to be divided. It's learning that we all have opinions and views on what we consider news and fake news. So, how are we what are we actually teaching the AI? Violence, yes, lots of that. Yeah, we're teaching the AI a lot of the bad things that we don't want in this world. We're teaching the AI that we're easily divided instead of teaching the AI that our message is just as important, if not more important, than what's being spread by mainstream news outlets. You know, because a lot of us, when we start talking about those things, we share the screens, we share the facts. We're teaching the AI how to discern fact from fiction. I think most people are under the concept and the illusion that the AI is already programmed. No, no, no. The AI is programmed to become self-aware. What? Wait, is that were those the serial killers that were oh, I think it just came out like a couple weeks ago about those guys that were actually cutting people up? But see, that's the other problem. How much of that we've seen was propaganda fed to compared to actual factual. You know, something I learned a long time ago. Sometimes you want to find out the real news about your own country, go to another country and watch their news. Yep. Unfortunately, it's the same in every country. They all do it. They all show us what they want us to see. This is the status quo. This is what you will believe. This is what you have to follow. If you go against the status quo, you will be censored. Damn. Yeah, hopefully they catch those two. Now, now, another thing about the judging aspect of things. You know, we also need to realize that people have their own opinions and own views. How can you judge an opinion and a view? Well, especially if you don't research all sides of things. But there's always that missing variable that we don't have, the variable of experience. What has that person experienced in life for them to formulate that view and opinion? That's something we can't answer. We can do all the research in the world we want. Yeah, that's something you don't hear too often. Somebody escaping from a Moscow prison. You know, we wonder why things are the way they are. It's simply because people. It goes back to the show I did, the numbing of humanity. We've become numb to so much. We have allowed so much stuff to cloud our minds that we've forgotten to how to see things for what they really are. We see something trending that everyone that we follow is sharing. So many people think that's got to be the truth. That's got to be real. They don't take the time to do the research and formulate their own opinion and views of the matter. They don't take the time to question things, much like everybody did with the Unmasking the Antifa Act of 2018, as it's called. Nobody took the time to really think about it. They got caught on the shiny words, and we've seen what Antifa's done. We know a couple states have labeled them as domestic terrorists. Oh, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd worry too much about that, Nikolai. I don't think they. I think if they escaped that prison, they got far away from the area as possible. They're probably well away and out of Moscow by now. You know, just like me talking about Moscow, Russia. People say, "Oh, you're a Russian sympathizer. You're a Russian bot." No, I'm talking to somebody that's interacting in my chat room, somebody that is a fellow brother and sister, somebody that is interesting, that talks, shares things. I'm sure there's probably topics that we'll all disagree on. Doesn't matter because we're learning from each other. I've got new things to question. Why am I disagreeing with that? I think one of the most important lessons that you can learn, if something triggers you, you need to stop, think, and question, why did that trigger me? Why did that bother me so much? Take a look in the mirror because you gave something power over you that should not have power over you. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be sleeping with one nearby as well. So many people give the stupidest things power over them, and they don't question why that has triggered them. They don't question themselves why it bothered them. It might be something that they needed to know. That's just, that inner feeling or inner voice or whatever you want to call it, telling you, hey, you need to look at this. You need to think about this, question it. But no, I mean, it's just like everybody wanted to use the term snowflake. Apparently, people haven't forgot their science because a snowflake under a microscope, no two snowflakes are alike. Every snowflake is unique. They don't have the same patterns or structure. They're all unique under a microscope. But for some people, they think that's an insult. Or if I talk about Israel or Jews, or I talk about the Holocaust, oh, I'm either a Zionist or I hate Jews, or I'm a Jewish sympathizer. What the hell? I was watching a chat room the other day where the chat was, two of the mods were calling people that, calling them a Zionist Jesuit. I'm like, what the hell? You know, I tell you what, that wouldn't be they wouldn't be a moderator on my channel after that. So that's the problem we have. Yes, and that's what people don't realize. Rebecca, you pointed it out exactly. You know, I've got friends from all around the world. I got family in Brazil, family here in the US, family in France, Britain. Everybody's going through the same stuff. We all got our problems. And to make matters worse, instead of blaming the bad apples, we want to blame a whole group for just a few bad apples. Instead of removing the bad apples from the group, those bad apples are just have become the group. And that's the wrong way of thinking. That's the reason we have all the problems we have today. And they know it. They use it against us. They use it to pit us against the cops. They use it to pit us against other religions. And people keep repeating that vicious cycle to a point where that is true, be rich. One decaying crab will poison the whole catch. Just like one bad apple, rotten apple will ruin the bushel. You know, but it's on, and that's where, you know, fault does lie. It's on the groups to remove the bad apples or be good stewards and fishermen to remove the bad crab from the group. So the group doesn't become the poison or become rotten. Unfortunately, we don't have that with a lot of these groups and organizations. They refuse to police their own. They refuse to vet, and they just let anybody in. And next thing you know, these groups and organizations, they've had their narrative changed. They're no longer about what they used to be about. And we all have responsibilities within our communities, within our organizations and groups. And the worst part of it is that's the simple fix. But we don't see simplicity anymore. We see only the complexity. We're always judging. We're never taking time to stop and walk in other people's shoes, ask questions, observe, see how these person interacts in everyday life or a group interacts. You know, we're quick to condemn when somebody makes a mistake. We all make mistakes. I've made my fair share in life. I've made my fair share with this channel. but I've learned from them. I've not repeated them. We each find our own little faults, and we're supposed to learn from them, fix them. And sometimes there's some faults that can't be fixed, but that's when we surround ourselves with people that counter those faults. Damn, we should all know our weaknesses and strengths. The things that is our weakness, we bring in or surround ourselves with those that have that as their strength. You know, can we get and understand why people are so frustrated? Yeah, I get it. When you see a double standard every day of your life, I get it. But it's our job not to become that double standard as well. It's our job not to become numb to that double standard. You know, we need to realize we each have a mind of our own. We're each supposed to be free thinkers. We're supposed to question things, learn things. You see, when we stop questioning things and stop learning things, change doesn't happen. I think one of the worst teachings that was ever taught was you need to find balance. Well, there's a problem with balance. Perfect balance equals stagnation because there's no growth, there's no learning, there's nothing pushing you to learn something. We always think of oppositions or troubled times as something that is negative, and we can't see the positive of it. The positive of it is the fact we're learning from that experience. We're learning to overcome something. We're learning that, hey, we might need to make a change in the way we think, the way we act, the way we talk, the way we hold ourselves. That is actually very correct, Nikolai. It's the same here. They're easily triggered and easily misled. You know, and why? Because I remember what it was like to be that young. They haven't experienced things. That's actually a very good saying. I actually like that saying. Similar to one of my favorite sayings that I quote sometimes. Yeah. Life isn't just about darkness or light. Rather, it's about finding the light within the darkness. It's very true. We each have our own thoughts, and most people would say that's true, except for, is your thoughts really yours, or are you allowing somebody to manipulate them, somebody to control them for you? And for those that say no, then I would say, have you ever been triggered? Is there words that bother you when somebody says a certain word? Then the answer would actually be, what? No, exactly, the yin and yang. And most people don't even get the concept of that. They don't realize that every energy that we're surrounded by is also within us. We are a part of everything. You positive, negative flows through us just as easily as all the rest. In the end, it's the person's actions that dictate what it is. And some people get caught up in the misconception that I need to block out all the negativity, stomp it out. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You need to allow everything, all the energies, to flow naturally. When you start putting emphasis one over the other and you disrupt that natural flow, you are creating us, you are actually creating more problems. You're shutting a part of you down. You're disrupting that flow. And therefore, people can use that. That's why, we get in the arguments over religion, who's right, who's wrong. It's where we get the concept of good, evil. Everybody does something bad. Everybody's had that moment. The reason it's so aggressive, so violent, is because you oppressed that energy so much that when it finally yes it does, it overwhelms you and comes out as an explosion because you're not allowing those energies to flow naturally and freely. We talk people talk about frequency and vibrations. Well, to understand frequency and vibration, you have to understand that they're all energy and they all flow freely. It's just like tuning a guitar. You hold down a note to disrupt that energy, to change the tone, to change the vibration. You know, I hear so many people talk about, the Masons, the Masonic orders with the G. They don't even realize when we're talking about the G, we're talking about it as a note, as a frequency and vibration. That's what the G represents. Just like every alphabet has a numeric attachment to it. That numeric is the frequency, or is the vibration. I know that. Damn, it's 4:51 in the morning there? Oh, which is weird. I'm not used to having people from Russia because usually I'm blocked from several countries on my live streams. When people don't understand how much power there is in actual frequencies and vibrations. I'm sat here trying to explain it. There's a reason why, military, police, they do things in a cadence. Why riot police and MPs will take their baton and tap their shields. There's a reason why ancient soldiers did it in the in ancient times. There's a reason why during at protests people will do chants, will do songs, because it stirs the vibration. Those that know what they're doing intentionally go out there and set the cadence, set the tone. They know they can control the people through the frequency and vibration. They can incite a crowd and turn it into a mob, or they can turn the mob into something peaceful. They can quiet the mob all through just the way they tone their chant and voice, the frequency that they pitch out, which causes a vibration that ripples from one person to the next. Basically, it's starting to create the ripple effect. Yes, sonic weapons. The worst part of it is, we don't need no weapons. You have a voice. Your voice is the ultimate weapon. Like I pointed out, few people do accuse me of censoring myself on here, filtering myself. Yes, what am I filtering and censoring? My tone, my energies. That way I know when I am done, there's no manipulating, there's no influencing going on, that everybody is free to make their own choice and opinions. Oh yeah, I know that is a very good warning. I've heard plenty of stories from the Spitsnaz. I think I've heard a few stories about some of the German officers and police. I mean, that's even taught to our police and people that are in services like the police, the FBI, CIA, how to use the proper tone. I mean, we all know the tone. All you gotta do is remember back when you were a kid, when you did something, when your parents said something in that exact tone, you knew just by the tone you were in trouble. I mean, we all should, we all should censor ourselves in that way because we have a responsibility. Especially if you know and understand that knowledge and have that knowledge, you have a responsibility not to use that. because we're never supposed to manipulate another person's will. Ever. But yet I see it all the time. I see it. I mean, that's why I can't stand Alex Jones. He does it all the time. He has that knowledge. In fact, he has more knowledge than what most people realize because he does have an occultist that works for him. And ever since that one person started work for him, a lot of stuff changed, including the lighting systems, how they use their lights. People don't even understand that aspect. I don't even think they teach the mesmer effect anymore in science. They used to teach it as well in psychology. You know, the flickering of certain combination of lights can influence a person, im- implant some little messages. Walt Disney was a master of it. Oh yeah, he's been well trained. That's why I said he's more dangerous than any cult leader we've seen. He's more dangerous than David Koresh or the dude that was involved in Georgetown. He's almost as dangerous as the Black Magician. And for those who do not know where that term comes from, you need to go back to NASA with Jack Parsons, who, by the way, was the creator of the rocket fuel, but was also a well-known occultist, and so was the Black Magician, which he called the Black Magician and his left hand, none other than the founder of Scientology, Ron L. Hubbard. Yes, Ron L. Hubbard is nothing but an occultist. There is no science about Scientology. In fact, what Scientology is, it is the psychological model of the paradigms of magic, which they're forewritten. Spiritual model, which is every religion out there, falls under that one. Energy mixture model, the chaos model, and the psychological model, and the unwritten one in what we're living in today, which is called cyber magic, which there's another term for it. I'll just butcher it, so I'll keep it simple. All Scientology is using energy to manipulate the mind, training the mind. Unfortunately, it's so perverted, it's more brainwashing and programming. And what most people don't know, what were those two doing? Well, they were repeating a process that Crowley did, which Crowley was just repeating a process that John Dee and Kelly did. And it's happening right now within the technology field with the creation of the blockchain, the cryptocurrencies, the AIs, the algorithms. Most people don't even realize what computer coding is. Computer coding is nothing more than using a magical alphabet and magical numbers, or a magic square. But it's much deeper than that. It's getting, like I said, it goes clear back to what John Dee and Kelly was working with when they were working with the Enochian tablets. That's what you're dealing with today. Every bit of our software. That's why all these screens are black. They're black for a reason. That's why they all resemble the rectangle or square. Because technically, for those that studied John Dee and Kelly, you would know that the tablets are actually not square. They're much like your computer monitor. You have 4 cubes with a cross. And that's why I do not support the blockchain. Because I know the dangers of playing with that system. That is an interesting character, Rebecca. I've not actually talked about that. Especially when him and Trump, they were holding, what was it, that ball, glass ball, or cube, or whatever it was. It's been in the back of my mind for a later discussion. And definitely not on this channel. Damn, I didn't realize you had to know all those forms. You know, the manipulation, though, happens on every level. It happens in every organization, in every group. The programming. Well, yeah, yeah, there's a few things about that that's interesting dealing with that Saudi prince. You know, just like people want to talk about all the secret societies. Sometimes I gotta laugh at that because the secret societies is just, they're not secret if you know who's in it, which should tell you something right there. It should tell you the ones that we make a big deal about, everybody does, the ones that you know who's in it, the ones that parade around. Guess what, guys? They are just playing the part. They are meant for your entertainment, something for you to talk about, a distraction. You will never know the real faces. In fact, a lot of these groups, you don't even know the name of the secret society. They just give you things to chase down rabbit holes with, keep you distracted. That's why I don't get never big on the Bilderberg thing. It's just all smoke and mirrors. It's the dog and pony show, meant to distract people. It's a vacation for people to get together that Yeah, they might be powerful in the industry and politics and stuff, but they're not. They're just puppets. Somebody's pulling their strings. Now, Friday is Friday the 13th. There's actually a couple cool things that are happening Friday the 13th. But what is Friday the 13th? Why is it so notorious? Well, yeah, I can see where you have to need all that. Why is Friday the 13th so notorious? Well, it's because of an order to execute the Templar Knights. We know the history there, right? Ask yourself this. Friday the 13th is known as Black Friday. So why do we, in the middle of our shopping holiday season, at the start, to kick our holiday shopping season off, have a Black Friday sale? Why do we call it Black Friday? Not Friday the 13th. We call it Black Friday. I wonder how many people actually figured that out and caught on to that. You know, there's many stories of what sprung about the Templars' fall. Many theories. It's not a rabbit hole I'm going to go down, but it is interesting that we can see we celebrate it every Black Friday, every Friday the 13th. You have a good night, Nikolai. We celebrate it, but it's a reminder. It's a reminder that if you stand up for things, if you become or if you go against the status quo, go against a oppressive government, this will happen. That's what we honor and celebrate on the Friday the 13th. It is a reminder to all the common folk. That's the term they used back there. In fact, they used other terms: pagan, heathen, heretic, freethinker. By the way, that's what all three of those terms mean when you take it down to the root origins and how they were used and where they came about in time. I've done scholar writings on that, published an academic paper on that. It means free thinker, the common folk, those that question. Were dubbed heretics, heathens, pagans, witches. So they remind people with events such as Friday the 13th, reminding everybody, or Black Friday. We wonder why there's so much chaos on Black Friday. Now, they use those terms to manipulate us on a subconscious level. Not conscious level, but a subconscious level, a subliminal level. To me, 13 is a lucky number. To me, 13 is just a number. 13 is the vibration. 2 is the frequency. Yes, I do numerology the right way. All 13 is a vibration. Two represents the micro, the macrocosm, the male, the female, the yin and yang, whereas 10 represents completion, the whole. Anything past 10 is broken down to 1 through 9, or 1 through 10. Anything past 10 is the vibration when it comes to numerology. It has no meaning other than the vibration. But so many people give it too much meaning. And therefore, by giving it meaning, you're giving it power. Except for you're giving the illusion power, not the reality of it. And they know all these things. They hand you cell phones that radiate a frequency and vibration. They give us internet that radiate at a frequency and a vibration of their own. Once more, we delve back into the G note, the musical note. 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G. But when I talk about those things, and I tell people I have that knowledge, I'm instantly judged, categorized, and labeled. And that's before they even get to know me. See, that's the part that I guess really gets to me and so many other people is the fact that you'll judge somebody, categorize them before even listening to them or getting to know them. You're in that misconception that because they're of that label or that group, they're not, they don't want the same things you want. And guess what, guys? You're living an illusion if you believe that. You're living in a false reality if you believe that. Because they very much want the same things you want. We're just judging everybody else by the bad apples and blaming them. And some people allow you to believe it. You want to know why? There's power even in that. You're giving them just a tad bit more control. That's when we start talking about unity and division. Unity, until we stop judging, till we realize we've been lied to, deceived, tricked, manipulated, unity is going to be a very hard thing to come by. Until people start realizing and waking up to the fact that we're all brothers and sisters. So they start waking up to the fact that almost all of us want the same thing. It's just those bad apples that don't want you to. They want to control you, keep you divided and pitted against each other. They want control over you. They want you to not be free thinkers. Because if you were free thinkers, you'd have started questioning a lot of these things a long time ago. You wouldn't be quick to judge somebody because of their beliefs. You wouldn't call them the bad guy. Oh, it's all their fault. In fact, you really wouldn't be doing it if you'd actually take time to get to know them, have a discussion, talk, learn without judging. Then you'd see that there are many, almost all those labels are no differently than you and want the same thing that you want. I think the greatest lesson I learned in life was from a Native American chief. He seen me reading the Bible one day and he started asking me about it. And he goes, you know what the problem with the world is today? He goes, even within my people, we don't realize that we all worship the same God. We just call him by a different name. There's many names, and many faces, and many aspects of God, but they're all the same God. And it shocks me that Christians don't get that. Because I believe the Bible says, and it's quite true on that part, we are created in his image. So therefore, he is both, God is both male and female, both masculine and feminine. Just like God is loving, wrathful, vengeful, peaceful. But yet they use religion to divide us, to pit us against each other. And I know many people say, well, that makes you evil. And to that I answer with this. No, that makes me very enlightened. And I have the experience to go with it. Like I said, most people never got to take time to get to know me. They don't know my experiences. They don't know. Most people don't even know I'm a preacher's son. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, born, raised again, and saved, and baptized. There was always something inside me that was questioning, why is that preacher sitting up there bashing Catholics, bashing homosexuals, bashing, all that fire and brimstone speech. So I eventually left the Baptist church and I tried them all. Pentecostal, Methodist, Catholic. Oh wait, I never tried Jehovah's Witness. Okay, so I can't say I tried them all. But I went to the other churches. You know what I heard? The very same dogma being preached from the pulpit. The pagan religions, they are not no different. They're just as divided. They are too. The same thing. Everyone believes their religion, their deity is better than the others. You believe in another one, you are wrong, you are evil. Same song and dance in every religion. That's why I say that elder Native American chief was very wise in what he said, because it is the number one thing they use to pit us against each other. I've been in all the circles, all the temples, all the churches and congregations. And they all do it. But yet, nobody wants to believe that. Nobody's took the time to go experience it. You know, some of the best discussions I've had is with sitting down at a table with a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, a Catholic, and a Satanist. No arguments. Nobody called anybody evil. Nobody claimed that their religion was the one true religion. We conversated. We talked about things. We learned from each other. You know what? When we finally walked away from that table, we were all enlightened individuals. We all realized that none of us were each other's enemy. You know, we all realized that there was truths to be found in every single one of our beliefs and practices. There was good morals to be taken. That's what can happen when you go into a conversation like that, unjudgmental, learning from each other. Unfortunately, those they don't want us doing that because we heard what people said around us. What are you doing sitting down with them? They're going to make you backslide. They're going to make you fall. They're going to trick you and mislead you. 3 months we got together and talked and discussed things, philosophized, and we all walked away each time very enlightened. We all realized the problem's not the label of the religion. The problem is the dogma, the very thing that is being taught to pit us against each other. We all realized that our spirituality is just that, ours. We each walking up our own path. And that is what we all should be realizing. We should stop letting them manipulate us and pit us against each other. But until we can do that, yeah, we'll find some unity, but not the unity that we need. We'll find some change, but not the change we need. I've heard it all. I've heard within this community, I'm evil. Don't bring him on your show. Don't bring him on your podcast. He's evil. He knows all this occult stuff. Yeah, I do. And I'm that guy that keeps bringing it over here to give you the awareness so it's not being used against you. Pointing out what is being used against you. I do the same thing on their community, showing how they've been misled, used, how they've been taught not to think for themselves, not to be free thinkers. Yeah. Kind of interesting what random thoughts will come to mind, doesn't it? You just quiet out thought, just let it flow. The topics that can be talked about freely. And that is what is needed more than ever. But it's gone on 2 hours, so didn't mean to go that long. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, actually, just let me jump over here so I can get the link and put it in the description. Tomorrow night at 11 p.m., I will be on Pirate Radio Podcast. Yeah, I'm just going to link to the page. And believe me, I do not know what I am going to be talking about tomorrow. But I will leave the link in the chat. Those that want to check it out, you can actually click on the link, go to their page, set the reminder. I know this, it will be the Friday the 13th, and you know me. Who knows what I'll talk about? But it will be interesting. I've gotten a few ideas just from this podcast. You take care, Rebecca. For those that joined in, thank you. It was nice seeing all of you. And I will catch you guys, hopefully some of you guys tomorrow night. And probably the rest of you Monday, because it's probably going to be at the racetrack Saturday. So probably the next podcast for here will be on Monday, which will be part 4 of the Broken Systems series, and we'll be talking about the economic system, which that's probably going to be a lengthy one. Just because it's economics and it's a huge system. But till the next time, I'll see you guys and gals later.